Hey there! Hey, welcome to First Friday. It's May 1st and it's Friday, so it means it's time to kick off your weekend with Munson Williams' First Friday Happy Hour. I hope you are well and I thank you for joining us. I'm Anna D'Ambrosio, the president of Munson Williams. So it's May 1st and that means May Day. And you might know that in medieval Europe, May Day was a celebration of spring. And then in the 19th century, it became an international workers' holiday. So after a long week of Zoom meetings, emails, while juggling your cat or your dog or your cat and your dog, and doing homework and teaching your kids, it's time for you to relax and kick off your weekend with some great art and music. I want to thank the First Friday Committee for keeping us together with our members and friends through this great live stream. We've got a great hour of art and music in store for you. We have Down Home Blues with Colin Aberdeen, an art talk by curator of modern and contemporary art, Mary Murray, and you can hone your artistic skills while sipping cocktails on your couch with Jennifer Lorenz from our Museum Education Department. And you can also help keep First Fridays going, and we'd very much appreciate it if you consider a donation to First Fridays. You can click on the Support First Fridays link right on our webpage, mwpai.org, or on the link at the bottom of this Facebook post. Well, there's one thing that's missing to get us started, and that's a cocktail, because what is First Friday without a cocktail? So let me pass over the mic to our guest bartenders, Joe Finelli and Maggie Reed. So everybody enjoy the hour. We'll see you in a little while.
Anna, thanks so much for that introduction. Now, normally, of course, I'm on the other side of the bar, so this is a little bit different. My wife and I are in our kitchen, so if you hear kids screaming or maybe you see a big black dog run by with a ball, just roll with it. Okay, so I think we're going to do my drink first. Now, I know that Anna said that it's May Day, and I totally appreciate that, but Cinco de Mayo is coming up in just 4 more days. So I thought I would make a Mexican-inspired drink, but we're in Utica, New York, so I decided to use Utica Club in place of the normal Modelo or the other beer that we won't mention its name of right now. So the ingredients are very, very simple, and you could substitute just about anything with this. I've already taken the liberty of squeezing some lime juice. Maggie was concerned that I would squirt her in the eye if I squeezed the lime in front of her, which she's probably correct. But
it would have happened.
It would have happened. The other thing we're using is a seasoning called Cajun Seasoning. This is basically like a chili pepper with some dried lime and salt. And you could totally just substitute salt if you want, which is probably actually the correct thing to do. And what we're making today is called a chilada. There's a more complicated version of this that has like tomatoes and tomato juice, and it's like a Bloody Mary with beer. We're not going to do that. That's way beyond my skill level. So this one's pretty simple, and Maggie's going to take up the rest of the day, with this very complicated thing that's in a martini glass and has several ingredients that I don't even pronounce correctly, along with my bad Spanish pronunciations. The first thing that we need to do, of course, is to put some lime juice on the rim of the glass. I've used my well-loved Saranac glass for this. You can use whatever glass you have handy. I have a plate of the Classico seasoning, and of course, if you're using salt, this will work just as well. And we've rimmed the glass with some seasoning. The next thing, as I said, I've taken the liberty of already squeezing the contents of a lime into this, not squirting you in the eye.
I appreciate that, Joe. Thank you.
We'll pour that in. I'm gonna steal. You have some ice cubes, don't you? Can I steal one of your ice cubes? Are you seriously? Can you just give me like one?
Yes.
Like it calls for an ice cube. I don't know why. I don't. And
My hand was wet.
you. All right. So, anyways, I'm gonna pop open a UC. Little, you can't go out just now. And we'll pour it in. I know if I was at Saranac right now, I'd be fired, and I'd have to get another job. And just in case, Tara Richko, if you're out there, I'm just going to let you know that Eric Bremer stopped by and dropped a case of wine in the driveway. I'm just suggesting that, if Saranac dropped a case of beer in the driveway, nobody would really mind here. We're down to cans, by the way.
I know. It's getting low.
It is getting low. Now I'm using a UC for this drink, but I understand that our artist today, Colin, does not enjoy Utica Club. So in honor of him, I also have a Polar Haze IPA. I do not suggest making this drink with the Polar Haze. However, this one's already empty. I drank that in honor of him. I'm just going to, that's empty too. Well, this one's still got a little in it.
Joe's been drinking all afternoon. I'm sorry.
Okay, so that's all there is to this drink. It's pretty simple. You could use salt. You could use lime. You could skip the ice cube, put the ice cube in. It's all good. It's all about what? Oh my God, I almost forgot the garnish. That's true. I took hours slicing this lime. I do not have good knife skills. So basically, this is what a chelada looks like, and this is what it tastes like. I'm going to just pass this off to you and continue to drink this.
Okay, sounds good. So my cocktail this evening is a lemon drop martini. So what you'll need for this is vodka, lemon juice. The limoncello is optional, but we had it on hand, so why not use it? And also simple syrup. So if you don't have simple syrup, I don't know if you guys know how easy it is to make. It's equal parts sugar and water. So put in a pan a cup of sugar and a cup of water, boil it till it gets a little syrupy, and there you go, you have your simple syrup.
Now that's different from a roux, right? Which is butter.
Yes, it's different from a roux.
Okay.
So I don't have all of the proper tools here at home. I don't have a shaker. I did at one point. I don't know what happened to it. So what I did is I just used a glass with some ice in it, and we're just going to add all of the ingredients to the glass. So first the vodka. So it's 3 tablespoons of vodka, or about a shot, or a little more, depending on the day or week you had.
It's Friday.
It is Friday. Then I'm going to add the lemon juice, which I also pre-squeezed because I did kind of want to squirt Joe in the eye, but I thought it might be kind of mean. Next, we will add the simple syrup, which I made last night. Then the limoncello. So put it all in this glass and we'll shake that up. Now I will also be rimming my glass with just some sugar. Take the lemon, rub it around the edge. I'm sorry, that sounds bad.
It's very squeaky.
I'm sorry. All right, let's see if I can pour this without spilling. Hey, not bad. And if you want to, you can garnish with a piece of lemon. And there you go.
All right.
You have your lemon drop martini.
I'm going to totally drink to that.
Cheers.
A lot of us are struggling a little bit right now, or maybe more than a little bit, because of the current situation. But remember that the arts are important as well. And if you're able, now's probably a good time to give. And I'm going to pass this off because pretty much I want to drink this drink.
Thank you to Munson Williams and to our good friend Mitch Eckler for inviting us to do this. We had fun.
It was fun. You can kill it now because the dog wants to go out.
All right. Hey, thanks, Joe and Maggie. Appreciate it. And Joe, I got to tell you, I love my Utica clubs, man. I don't know. I might have made fun of them once in a while, but I love those Utica clubs. Thanks again for Munson William Proctor Institute for having me. My name is Colin Aberdeen, and I'll play a couple tunes for you. You must be daddy's little punk, and I can tell by the way you roll. You must be daddy's little punk, and I can tell by the way you roll. 11, and you're sleeping on the bedroom floor. See a fire burning, baby, burning right behind your eyes. Now I can see a fire burning, baby, burning right behind your eyes. Used to swallow the candle, some other kind of surprise. Going down to Memphis, I got $300 in cash. Now I'm going down to Memphis, I got $300 in cash. All those Memphis women gonna see how long my money can last. Going down to Memphis, I got $300 in cash. Now I'm going down to Memphis, I got $300 in cash. All those Memphis women gonna see how long my money can last. See my baby coming, don't you tell her that her daddy's in jail. Now if you see my baby coming, don't you tell her that her daddy's in jail. Settle and funky, just to go and sweep daddy's bed. Dad's a punkin', I can tell by the way you roll. Dad's a punkin', I can tell by the way you roll. Never do nothing, not a single dog on soul. Never do nothing, not a single dog on soul. All right, thank you very much. It's a song by the great John Prine. Dad's a pumpkin. Well, hey, I want to thank everybody at Munson Williams for having me. This is great fun and strange times where art and music keep rolling on. And I love John Prine, me too.
Hi everybody, it's Friday, and as Anna said, it's May Day. So in honor of the world's workers, I salute you. I have my drink here. It's a variation of a Manhattan. I call it a Utica. I especially want to say hello, greetings to all of the workers who are not working, who would prefer to be at their desks or on the job, but are at home instead, furloughed or laid off or working from home. I wish you encouragement and to be of stout heart. And of course, I'd like to thank and recognize the hospital workers and security people, police, firemen and women, EMT, retail workers, educators, public transportation, drivers, all of you who are making it possible for the rest of us to keep at home safely and help flatten this curve. It's very strange to experience a day of workers when so many of us are out of work, but we will be optimistic and in the meantime take nurture from the arts. I loved Colin's set and I'm looking forward to more in a little bit, so stay with us. So May is also the month we celebrate Mother's Day, and in our current exhibition celebrating suffrage, we have a section dedicated to motherhood. This is an exhibition that my colleague Miranda Hofelt and I organized, and all work by women artists, primarily from the museum's collection. And I think the first slide, Mitch, is going to be Mary Cassatt. That's right, thank you. Mary Cassatt is a great American artist who was, I think, the only Impressionist, the only American who worked and exhibited with the Impressionists in France. She was good friends with Edgar Degas, for instance. And I encourage you to listen to an Outside the Frame video. You can find it on the Institute's Facebook page by Miranda Hofelt. It's quite interesting on this particular work of art and Mary Cassatt. What I learned from Miranda is that this kind of secular mother and child image is based on things that she learned from, say, Italian Renaissance art of religious subjects, the Madonna and Child. And here we have an aquatint and dry point from 1898, wherein the subject is an appropriate one for a proper haute bourgeois lady like Miss Cassatt. She didn't frequent the cafes at night the way her male counterparts did. And also being close with her family was, it's very poignant now, isn't it? Because, of course, we're all separated. So let's think about our family who might be separated from us, and we'll be looking forward to an opportunity to be with them again through art. Now, in the 20th century and the 21st century, contemporary artists are, let's see, how should I say this? Women artists who are also mothers, and they might also be art professors or work at an art museum, have run up with a real conflict of scheduling, and so making time for studio practice is always a concern for artists, and perhaps for women who are mothers it's even that much more pressing because of traditional roles. But as I've said before, artists are the hardest working people I know. They will make time for their studio practice after they've looked after children, after they've gone to their full-time paying job. And we have the benefit of having some work in the exhibition by artists like Marian Wilson and others who are moms. One of the pieces I'd like to look at next is not actually in the show. It's by an artist named Ann Messner. And this work is called Percolator, as you can see. And you may not be able to tell from the slide that the root system are real roots, and she has painted them a rich red color, almost like a blood color, and then there is a wax covering. So the quality of the surface of the roots is very tactile and adds a human dimension to it. If not exactly like skin, it gives you the quality of warmth. So what are we to make of this piece? Well, Anne is the mother of a grown son now, and it's not specifically about motherhood, but I still think that we can address it in this Mother's Day talk, because the percolator is like the old-fashioned coffee pot that one would find on the stove in the kitchen, and certain farmhouses or other houses, it would be on the stove all the time, ready to serve, which is an interesting metaphor for women, right? For the farm wife or the other wife, the mother who is there to nurture. It's like the kitchen being the heart of the house or the home, just like Frank Lloyd Wright designed his houses around the hearth. I'm sitting next to the fire here. I don't know if you can see it, on purpose tonight because of that. So the homely, old-fashioned percolator is only what we see on the surface, that which serves, that which nurtures and gives warmth. And then there is a very rich underpinning, a personal life, and also a legacy and a history that undergirds the person who is able to provide so much sustenance for us, and which we may not see because it's something that she keeps within. Now, another artist whose work is in the exhibition, Marian Wilson. I met Marian in 1995, and she was expecting her son. So you can do the math. He is a grown man now. And Marian was, she's an interesting artist. She was trained as a painter. She has done a lot of work in installation and has done a lot of work in social practice. So some of her work is very much specifically related to being a mother, especially when her son was quite young. And she was interested in how children, especially boys, are socialized, and how aggression could be manifested in play. And so the work that we have in the exhibition is called Handgun. And it's a tiny cast of a child's hand in hydrocal. Thank you, Mitch. And this is life-size, so you might find it innocent and charming, or maybe a little bit disturbing too, that this little child's hand is making a gun. And if I recall, Marian didn't necessarily have guns, toy guns, for her son to play with, but he somehow naturally, or somehow maybe culturally, knew to do this, to make the gesture with his hand. And Marian made this piece in 1998, which predated the Columbine massacre, which is perhaps an early and one of the more famous only because of its early date that we have had so many of these school shooting tragedies over the last 2 decades. But Marian is ultimately a very optimistic person, and I want to recommend to your attention an interview in Bomb magazine, B-O-M-B, in which she describes herself as being a person of optimism because she was raised to believe that we live a life to make the world a better place. And the tools she has are art making. And so she has created, maybe in a maternal, maybe in a mothering kind of way, a nurturing way, certainly, a social practice that has included working with homeless people on the Bowery, teaching them drawing and other kinds of art classes. And she says she teaches homeless people the same way she would teach college students. She has created murals with children in inner city Philadelphia, and it's her belief that we can make a difference, and in her artwork she hopes to do so. And I'd like to conclude with a work by Mariana Pineda, and it is a sculpture called The Visitation, which is based on the Christian Bible, Luke, the Gospel of Luke, wherein the kinfolk, the cousins Mary and Elizabeth, meet each other, and they are both expecting, and of course their children, if you're familiar with the story, will become Jesus and John the Baptist. And I love that it's in a contemporary dress, and it's an opportunity for two people who are related, who are very happy with this expectant future. They have a lot to live for because of they're both expecting children, and they are able to greet each other. And so I'd like to conclude with this piece because it's my hope that we will all soon be greeting each other, reaching out and seeing family and friends, and being inspired by this kind of artwork in the meantime. And just as a conclusion, this subject of motherhood is the theme of an exhibition at the University Museum at New Mexico State University Museum in Las Cruces. Unfortunately, like everyone else, their museum is also closed, but please do visit the website because there's some really interesting takes on being a contemporary artist and motherhood. So I think I'm going to throw it back to Colin for some more of this wonderful music that he's performing for us. Let me get my list here. Is it Colin's next, I think, right?
All right, well, thanks, Mary. Appreciate it. Hang on a second. Let me get myself in the frame here a little better. Yeah. Have to excuse me. I'm broadcasting from a home studio, if you will. By that I mean my phone on a music stand. Hey, thanks, Mary. Very interesting. And here's to mothers from a mama's boy. Here's to mothers. Looks like I went the wrong way. There we go. I feel better. Thanks, Mary. a honeybee, my queen bee. Ride me to my soul, ride me to my soul, ride me to my soul. Oh, she ride me to my soul. She got the honey in the honey pot. Oh, mama, what you got? Honey in the honey pot. Pot that you got is hot. Right me to my soul. Right me to my soul. Right me to my soul. Oh, she right me to my soul. She can sing now, sing it, sir. Watch a boy look at her run. Strike now, sing it, sir. Whoa, laughing, having fun. Ride me to my soul. Ride me to my soul. Ride me to my soul. Oh, she ride me to my soul. Now, sugar, won't you come at me? Spare me from this misery. Baby, won't you come at me? My queen bee. Ride me to my soul. Ride me to my soul. Ride me to my soul. Oh, she ride me to my soul. Sweeter than a honeybee, baby, she's sweet on me. Sweeter than a honeybee, my queen bee. Ride me to my soul, ride me to my soul, ride me to my soul. Oh, she ride me to my soul. All right. Thank you very much. I'm going to switch guitars. That's a song by the great Taj Mahal. I want to send one out to all the moms on Mother's Day, including my own. Hey, I want to thank Maggie Reed and Joe Finelli for their bartending demonstration. And Saranac is welcome to drop the Utica Club off on my doorstep too. That's excellent. All right, this is an old Nashville guitar, which I often get asked, what is that thing? So I'll just assume somebody might want to know. And I'll look. It's what's called a resophonic guitar. And it was designed by these two Czechoslovakian brothers, the Del Piero brothers. And they basically kind of came up with this upside down pie plate. And because the acoustic guitar wasn't quite loud enough to hang with the band and in the loud settings, so they were trying to figure out a way to make it louder. And they made this little upside down pie plate with a biscuit on top. And then the bridge sits under that on the strings, and it kind of shoots into the back of the guitar like a speaker and comes out the F holes over here and off the back of the speaker as well. So, or the cone, as it were. Play an old Robert Johnson song, a little thing called Dust My Broom.
Hey everyone, and welcome to Couch Illustration. My name is Jen Lorenz, and I'm a local illustrator. So as a little reminder, Mother's Day is coming up next weekend. You can't forget. And I thought that tonight we could do a little illustrating together and make some art that you can give to a special mother or a special person in your life. Or honestly, you can just give this drawing to yourself because you're pretty special too. So I'm going to walk you through some really simple flower and leaf motifs, and then we're going to put them together at the end to create a little flower drawing. So hang on here. Let me flip us around a little bit. Okay, so what you're going to need something to draw with. I am honestly not using anything fancy here. I've got a wet erase marker, and you're going to want 2 sheets of paper. So let's get this going. Again, we're going to start with just some practices. And I'm going to start off with just this really simple little drawing here. We're going to start with 3 little bumps, nothing fancy, and a little U shape on the bottom. And you can kind of repeat it on the inside a couple times and add on a little stem. Now it's really important to note that we're not even remotely looking for realistic flowers right now. What we want are what's on trend in illustration, which is a very sweet, simple, handmade look. And so that's what we're going for. So as you're drawing today, if your lines are looking wavy, it's a little messy, a little smudgy, please don't worry. This is good. It's going to show us that what we're making is homemade and ultimately very on trend. So, okay, flower number 2. We're going to start with a little center of the flower. And we're going to do kind of these downward facing teardrop shapes, and they're all going to connect right back to the center. And I'm kind of bookcasing another little downward teardrop on that side. And don't forget the stem. And this is sort of a daisy, kind of black-eyed Susan shape. You can make it fancy if you want to put like the little center fold in there. So our third flower, this kind of goes back to the flowers that we're making when we're kids. It's 5 little petals. I'm going to do a couple here. And I'm going to make them fancy by adding in like the little stamen that goes all the way around. And then you can connect them with your stem. Maybe add a little leaf if you want to get fancy. Now, an alternate version of this would be same little 5 petals, but you leave a little space in the middle. And what you can do is kind of add these little polka dot shapes. And again, same little guys, connect them with a simple line, maybe throw in a simple little leaf shape. So let's move on to the next one, which is my favorite one. It's a poppy. Who doesn't love a good red poppy? They have these beautiful black centers. And I'm just going to do kind of this wavy big petal shape. And I'm going to do one more big shape all around the edge, one more kind of giant petal. And it's real easy. You're just doing kind of wavy around the outside. Then to make it look a little more poppy-like, you got to give it that pleated look. So we're going back around, just kind of adding in the little stripes, so to speak, the little pleats to the poppy. And it's cute, but it's not quite right yet. You got to add the stamen back in, so all those little dots that go all the way around. Then you can, again, add back in your stem. So now we're going to do another one that's got a center that's kind of similar to the daisy. It's going to be that same little bumpy center. And we're going to kind of do these little upward facing heart shapes on either side. And then one more big petal in the middle that kind of looks like that. Nothing fancy. You can, add a little line, add those cute little kind of stamen guys in the middle. And then we have to attach it to the stem, but I'm going to do it a little bit differently. Most of the flowers that we've done are like facing us, except for this guy, he's in profile. And this one's kind of in profile too. So I'm going to do 1, 2, 3 at the bottom and kind of add in the bottom of the stem. So it sort of looks like this is where the stem is connecting to the flower, so to speak. If you want to shade it in or whatever you want to do. Okay, last flower for now is going to be another super simple one like this. And all it's going to be is 1, 2, 3, 4 little bumps that connect at the bottom. We're going to add this funny little kind of zigzag stem shape. And then if you want to get fancy and add some little pleats of sorts, you can do that. Maybe add, again, if you're feeling this little stamen shape, you can add that in too. And now we're going to finish this up with some little leaf shapes, because what bouquet doesn't look good without some greenery? So what I'm going to do, we're drawing kind of a wavy little stem here. And I'm going to add in kind of those side stems. And as you go down, the stems get a little bit longer. They're shorter toward the top because that's where the new greenery is. So from there, we're going to add in our teardrop leaf shapes. Now, as you go down, because this is older growth on the plant, your leaves are going to get bigger. You can also make them a little wavy if you want to be fancy pants about it. And we're going to repeat the same kind of idea. I'm going to do kind of a eucalyptus version. And they kind of have a little bit shorter side stems, whatever the technical term is. And their leaves kind of look like little blobby heart shapes. So that's what I'm going to add in now. And if you want to make them look a little more special, you can add that center vein down the middle of each of your leaves. And last one that we're going to do, same curvy little center shape, but this time it's going to be more of a flowering branch. So we're going to go back to these really simple shapes that we did here. Again, I'm going to do 1, 2, 3 little stem lines. And at the end, they're just going to be little flower shapes. Again, we're going for like little blob shapes. This is what's on trend right now. It's just really simple art, especially if you look at greeting cards whenever we can get back to stores. You're going to notice that a lot of the art right now it's just very sweet and very simple. I'm going to add some little buds on here just for kicks, make it special. Okay, so now we've got all of these little options. This is going to, not only was this practice, but it functions like kind of like a reference sheet. So I'm going to put it off to the side so we can look at all of our options and pull out paper number 2. And this is going to be our final drawing where we're going to put it all together into a lovely little bouquet. So what I'm going to do is draw a water glass. You're the artist, so if you feel like drawing like a fancy vase or something else, please feel free to do so. Again, it's a little wonky, and that's totally fine. Now, what I like to do with the water glasses is kind of put in this sort of center edge. It sort of makes it look like it's like a thick glass. And I'm going to put in my water line. So now we have this half full glass of water. We got to fill it with all of our designs. I am right-handed, so I'm going to work my way from left to right. And I personally like to start with a little greenery. So I start with the stem in this case, just so you can kind of map it out a little bit. And one thing that's important to remember as you go is don't forget that this is a solid glass, so you probably don't want your leaves like cutting through the side. Make sure it goes over the lip of the glass. So I'm going to add in my first round of greenery here. And if you want to get fancy here, we haven't done this yet, you can actually extend those center veins all the way to the end and add in a little extra, the little side veins on your leaves. And then it's really up to you, which is what I tell a lot of my students is, you know, you're the artist, you get to decide what goes where. So look back at your reference sheet and you're just going to start to fill in the blanks. There's no right or wrong. I'm going to do, we'll do 3. And you're going to connect them. And as you go, each of these you're gonna notice that some things are gonna overlap, and that's good. That's what makes it look a little bit more realistic, well, so to speak, as you go. Add some leaves in. Make sure some things are overlapping over others. I'm gonna do a poppy, and I hope you guys are drawing along with me. Okay, now you'll notice this is totally up to you as the artist. I am not making all of my stems hit the bottom of the glass like actual gravity would work. I just think it looks cool that they're all kind of uneven, but you can decide what you think looks best. Let's see, let's put some eucalyptus over here. Again, I'm doing 1, 2, 3. So pretty quickly, you'll see it starts to fill right in. I'll put a little leaf over here just for kicks. And then I should probably put something in the middle here. Maybe this guy. And you're just going to fill it all in until it looks good to you. Again, don't forget to extend your stems all the way to the bottom. And don't, try to fill in some of those white spots with leaves and things too, just to kind of fill it in. So when you get to a point where you're like, cool, that looks pretty good to me, I think I am done. Awesome job for you. What I would suggest is you got to kind of ground it on something. A lot of times with little kids, they'll draw their, like the table line is like right here where the glass stops at the bottom, but I would suggest doing it a little bit above that because it grounds it in space a little bit more. And if you want to use your awesome calligraphy skills that you've used last month and learned last month, you can have Happy Mother's Day or some cool message, whatever you want to do. And if you decide that you're done, you love it in black and white, you're like, oh my gosh, this is the best drawing ever, then you're totally done. If you happen to have something like colored pencils on hand, you can come back in and frankly just treat it like a coloring book. You can go through, color it in however your heart desires. And when you're done, you're going to have your awesome piece of art that you've created that you can cut down. You can fold over a piece of paper, do a little one, make a card out of it, and really make it special. So I hope you guys enjoyed illustrating with me tonight. Thank you to Munson Williams again. And if you'd like to show support for tonight's programming, please consider making a donation to the museum. You can also check out some of my work at Jennifer Lorenz Illustration on Facebook and Instagram. And we're going to send this back over to Colin to do some more wonderful music. So thanks, everyone. Have a great weekend.
Hey, thanks, Jen. Excellent advice, too. Excellent teaching. You're the artist. That's in my chart. I try to remember myself sometimes. I had the pleasure recently of going down to West Australia, which is where my family's from, and on my dad's side. And I got to take my daughter Marley with me. And there's a beautiful town down in West Australia. Where my sister and brother-in-law live, called Dunsborough, and just down the way is a little town called the Margaret River. So I want to send this out to my girl, who I think is watching. It's a song called Margaret River. Sit by my side, my darling. Spend a little time with me. Walk down the Mount 30 old Margaret River, where it rolls on out to the sea. Like birds through time, we can fly in our minds to a place where true love is free. No longer bound by this world on the ground, keeps you from being with me. I know I've been told I'm a rough stretch of road. It's hard just being with me. I'm trying to unfold on the love my holds, send it to you for me. Like birds through time, we can fly in our minds to a place where true love is free. No longer bound by this old world, keeps you from being with me. Lay by my side, my darling, spend the night with me. My heart stayed warm, curled up in your arms. My poor at night at ease. Like birds through time, we can fly our minds to a place where true love is free. No longer bound by this wood on the ground. Keeps you from being with me. Hold in my arms, my darling. Through the tree. Take the new from the old and all the promise it holds. Share your life with me. Like birds through time, we can fly our minds. A place where true love is free. No longer bound by this wood on the ground. Keeps you from being with me. All right, this is a song called Old Margaret River. And my daughter Marla lives that one, so I figured I'd play it for her. And to my peeps in Australia and everybody out there who's missing somebody they love, you know, because it's a strange time that way. But I've been struck by so many people's acts of great generosity and kindness, and I encourage you to, support the Munson William Proctor Institute because it's such a great place, and I've had great fun playing there and being there with my daughter who enjoyed the children's art stuff there and had a great time. And I just look forward to getting back there when we can all get back out and together and just let's patiently hang tight and get her done. All right, I'll play one more song and say good evening and thanks very much for having me, Mitch and everybody, and Anna and Mary and Jen, and thank you, and thanks to my buddy Joe Finelli and Maggie for mixing the drinks. And what a cool thing! I appreciate it. Thanks for including me. Troubles, troubles, trouble. Everybody got troubles of their own. Sometimes this trouble won't leave for me alone. See, I don't need to sing nobody else's blues. My God, troubles, oh my very own. See, I got troubles with my sweetheart. Troubles trying to find myself a home. We can't live together. Oh, man, I can't leave that girl alone. See, I don't need to sing nobody else's blues. My God, troubles, oh my very own. See, I got troubles with my mindset. Troubles trying to find the time. You know, I call somebody. Hey, hey, hey. Man, I ain't got but one thing done. See, I don't need to sing nobody else's blues. My God, troubles, oh my very own. See, I got troubles in my workplace. And I got troubles trying to find the time. You know, I call somebody, man, I ain't got but one dime. See, I don't need to sing nobody else's blues. My God, trouble woes, oh my well. See, I got troubles with that prepaid. Man, I got trouble with the bad rent. Seems like every time that I need an $852 billion bailout, that money's already spent. Now, if I had only known the gross financial incompetence is all it takes to get one of these bailouts, man, I would have had one years ago. Hey, I'm too big to fail. Troubles, troubles, trouble. Everybody got troubles of their own. Sometimes it's trouble won't leave for me alone. See, I don't need to sing nobody else's blues. My God, trouble woes, oh my bad, oh my bad, oh my very own. Thank you very much.
Hey, thank you, Colin, and thank you, Joe and Maggie, Mary and Jennifer, for being with us tonight and for sharing your time and your talents. And I want to say thank you also to Mitch, the man behind the scenes, who makes all of this happen like magic. So I'm enjoying my Utica Club and a Saranac glass here, and I used it to wash down a great burger by Modus from downtown Utica. And it just reminded me, and to remind all of us to make sure that we are patronizing our local businesses as much as we can during this crisis, because like Munson Williams, everyone needs our support to keep going through these challenging times. I want to thank you, our Munson Williams community, for being a part of First Friday. While we are physically separated, the arts are still bringing us together, and they offer us reflection and solace, and they allow us to express ourselves, and they bring joy and shared experiences into our lives. So thank you for being part of that tonight. It's certainly been a long 6 weeks, and we're eager at Munson Williams to welcome you back to our galleries, our auditorium, and our classrooms. And as soon as we know when we can reopen to the public, we will share that information with you. And please know that in all of our planning for reopening, it's your safety and health and that of our staff and all of our patrons that is foremost in our minds. Until then, I ask you please to stay engaged with us on Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube. You can now enjoy our film series with titles that you won't find on Netflix, Hulu, and Amazon Prime. So go to our social media pages or to Munson Williams Proctor, to mwpai.org and find links to all that we are offering you. Stay with us, explore, read, listen, and enjoy art and yoga tomorrow morning live on Facebook. We're bringing as much as we can to you, keeping you engaged, keeping you part of the Munson Williams community. Thank you for belonging to the Munson Williams community. And until we can welcome you again back onto our campus, know that we miss you because it is our mission to bring people together with the arts. So we're happy to be able to share some time with you this evening. Please stay well, stay healthy, keep being creative, take good care, and good night.